Now, the US Secretary of State, John Kerry, has announced that America is providing another $500 million in aid to victims of the war in Syria. It brings the total US assistance to nearly $3 billion since 2011. Mr. Kerry made the announcement in Turkey on the latest leg of his Middle East tour. He's trying to get backing for the new US strategy against Islamic State militants in Iraq and Syria. On Thursday, 10 Arab countries agreed to help with the fight against the militants. Iraq, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, UAE, Jordan and Lebanon all pledged support. Turkey, however, has refused to sign up. That could be because Islamic State militants are currently holding 49 Turkish citizens, as the BBC's Nick Charles reports.
The headlong advances through northern Iraq in June of the militants who now call themselves Islamic State or IS. It was these advances which first sounded alarm bells around the world about the threat that IS poses. They're also one reason why the CIA says IS has now attracted between 2 and 3 times as many fighters as it was estimated to have had just a few months ago. A man on a mission. The US Secretary of State in Saudi Arabia wins public backing from a gathering of key regional countries for President Obama's new strategy to take on IS in Iraq and Syria. But can they really unite effectively?
The region recognizes the danger that has been unleashed, and they are full-throatedly ready to deal with that, and that's why they committed today to take the actions that they committed to.
Incirlik Air Base in Turkey could be a key hub in the fight against IS. Mr. Kerry, who's now arrived in the country, has just announced nearly $500 million in aid for people and countries like Turkey hit by the conflict in Syria. But he knows Ankara is hesitant about joining the anti-IS coalition, while the militants are holding nearly 50 Turkish citizens.
I have full expectation as we go forward that we'll work through whatever issues or questions that exist. But I think for the moment, they have a few sensitive issues. We respect those sensitive issues, and we're going to work with them very carefully.
In Iraq, some high-profile support from the visiting French president for the new government there, on which so many hopes now hang. And President Hollande underlined that a conference Paris is hosting next Monday would aim to bolster the new Iraqi government and weaken the militants. Meanwhile, US officials say this man, retired US Marine General John Allen, will have the job of coordinating Washington's growing coalition. It won't be easy. This aircraft carrier has been one of the launching pads for more than 150 American bombing missions already against IS in Iraq. They could soon extend into Syria. But it'll be the roles of Washington's regional partners, the Iraqi security forces and Syria's moderate opposition, that will be critical if the Obama strategy is to have any chance of success. Nick Childs, BBC News.
Well, let's talk more, because I'm joined here in the studio by Celine Gorit from the BBC's Turkish service, and live in Ankara, our correspondent Barbara Plett-Usher. Barbara, if I can start with you, you've been travelling with John Kerry. Do we know what might emerge from the talks in Ankara?
Well, these have been ongoing talks because Mr. Kerry has been at several big meetings in the past week which have been also attended by the Foreign Minister of Turkey, and they have quite a lot of phone calls. The Defense Minister of the United States was here last week, so this is the next stage in what has been an ongoing discussion. The Americans' key concern when it comes to Turkey is its very long border with Syria. And Turkey has been the transit route for rebels going into Syria to fight the Assad regime, but recently that has turned also into a flow of Islamist extremists who are going into Turkey, into Syria, to fight with Islamic State. So there's been a lot of pressure on Ankara to start clamping down on what had been quite a loosely controlled border, which it has done. It has put up more border checks, more patrols. It has taken measures at the airport to to stop potential fighters from coming in. According to Turkish government figures, it stopped 6,000 people so far and deported 1,000. And the State Department has responded positively to that. State Department officials said that there had definitely been improvements, although they still wanted to see more improvements. So I think that will be a main topic of discussion. Also, the Turks have quietly indicated to the Americans that they would not like to use the NATO airbase in the south of the country for military operations against Islamic State. They can use the base and air flight space for logistical and humanitarian flights, but not for military operations. And that is something I think that the Americans are not challenging. As you heard Mr. Kerry there, he said he understood the sensitive issues that the Turks had in terms of taking a very out-front role in the military campaign, but he says that they are still quite an engaged member of the coalition.
Celine Gurrit here in the studio. Isn't Turkey like a number of states, in a way, facing at least two ways on this? Because, you know, they wanted to unseat Assad, supporting the rebels, accused of supporting ISIS, now under huge pressure not to.
Exactly. Turkey has come at a crossroads regarding this matter. It has been accused of supporting ISIS, which Turkey actually denies. It has been accused of funding even ISIS, which Turkish government denies.
Do we have any evidence either way on that?
Well, not really. There have been trucks on the border, going towards the border, but these are all allegations, and nothing has been actually proved. Now, Turkey is keen on securing the border, increasing border security, definitely. But what it underlines is the Turkish government doesn't want to be involved in any kind of combative measures, and it doesn't want to allow its bases for combative measures. It says we're okay for humanitarian assistance, we're okay for increasing border security, stopping the flow of money to ISIS, but we don't want to be involved in any kind of combative measure.
That is, in a way, that summarises the position of, as I said, of more than one country. And yet, Islamic State is a threat, first and foremost, to countries in the region. Why should countries in Europe and America face the risk of retaliation when countries in the region don't want to get involved militarily?
Well, Turkey says because its 49 citizens are held hostage by the Islamic State, its main concern is if we get involved militarily with the Islamic State, then what will happen to these 49 people of ours? That is the main concern, and a Turkish official has been quoted as saying our hands are tied. So first, Turkey needs to see those people released before it kind of commits itself to a military operation, but definitely it doesn't want boots on the ground.
Okay,
no.
Celine Gurrit and Barbara Plett-Usher, thanks to you both.